Hi, everyone. Welcome to live stream with me, Dr. Aparajita Jeetagunta. I am the founder and CEO of AJ Rao LLC and the creator of the upcoming C3EB Summit, which happens less than 1 week from now. And in all of that excitement, I am so excited. In all of that excitement, I am thrilled to be able to bring to you one of our speakers from the upcoming C3EB Summit so we can get to know him a little bit better. Alton James, PhD, Dr. Alton James, Dr. James.
Just Alton.
I think he'll always be just Alton to me, and we'll get into why just shortly. But first, let me read Alton James's bio. Alton James, PhD, has dedicated his career to the education and liberation of disenfranchised and underrepresented peoples through the medium of storytelling, utilizing both words and music. Despite accompanying and leading choirs around the Metro Detroit area, his overall approach to storytelling may seem unconventional given his background. Having earned his BA in English with minors in African American Studies and Music from the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, Alton followed that up with an MA in Educational Leadership and Policy at the University of Michigan as well. Upon graduation, Alton taught English and music for both middle and high school students in Detroit. While still honing his music composition abilities, Alton served as an administrator at Wayne State University while earning his Ed.S. and PhD in Educational Leadership and Policy. Along the way, Alton founded the company J4 Media, which provides music and audio services for visual media. Through his personal ethos of moving people through storytelling, Alton continues to accomplish this through authorship, as he actively publishes literature, scholarship, and by composing music for television and film. It is for this reason that he refers to himself as the sonic storyteller. Oh, I love that. I have goosebumps. And on a personal note, Alton is practically my little brother because he is the little brother of one of my best friends in my whole life. It is with absolute pleasure and honor that I welcome Alton James, PhD, to this platform and to the upcoming C3EB platform. Hey, Alton.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so blessed to have your perspective be a part of what is turning into this such a larger movement for, equity and intentional inclusion and the conversations happening about it. So let's dive right into it. Obviously you've accomplished a lot. Obviously you've just really never stopped learning for yourself, but also learning to be of better service to others. So what drives you to do what you do?
The easiest answer is just that humanity is fractured. Humanity has a problem with tribalism and divisiveness. And I recognize that in so many different facets, whether that's the work I do, that I've done in terms of teaching, the work I currently do with policy and looking at how various societal factors impact various demographic groups. And it's just a huge issue for me to see those things dismantled, because some of the opportunities I've been afforded in my life, when I look at people who haven't necessarily had some of those opportunities, how drastically different their lives are and can be. And it's just a great injustice. And for me, I don't like to see injustice and sit there and do nothing. So for me, it's about educating people. And when you free yourself mentally, it will change your life. So that's just the work I'm trying to do.
Awesome. And I love that idea of freeing yourself mentally, right? Because I think because of our formal education systems, but also because of the formal structures we have in society, we are so conditioned to stay in our boxes.
Definitely.
And the idea of even the thought of even stepping out of that box is so anxiety provoking even now for so many people, which is why I think, you know, everybody and their mother calls themselves a coach these days, because they want to coach people out of these boxes, you know, whether they have the experience or not. But it's an interesting thing for me that yes, it does does boil down to, outside of all of the systemic stuff, it does boil down to that individual responsibility and that individual accountability of, I am the owner of my life, and I will take responsibility for it and do what I can to be who I want to be, you know? Yeah. And that's something that I talk to you about a lot. I have regular conversations with your sister a lot. And interestingly enough, for those who may not know, so Alton's sister has been one of my best friends. I'm not going to age any of us, for a very, very long time. But Alton and I actually connected through through LinkedIn, through a connection where I found him, and then, you know, I came to you and I said, hey, I'm doing this thing. And I sort of laid all my cards out on the table about the C3EB Summit, about its newness, and about me sort of knowing what I was doing, but sort of not, and saying, you know, we'll figure it out. Right. So you always knew my big why for everything that I've built going into next week. What was your big why for agreeing to be a part of the summit?
I think my big why is actually a little why. And what I mean by that is, anytime I have an opportunity to share that type of knowledge and to try to impart some really positive things on the people, I don't want to miss that opportunity. So it doesn't matter how new something is, how big or how small something is. I think that it's my responsibility, the responsibility that I put on myself to humanity, in a sense, to take every opportunity that I'm afforded.
Wow. I love that answer. Yeah. There's no such thing as big or small. I love that. Which makes me, like, you know, as the inaugural summit, there is a part of me that's like, but it's already growing so much. So I'm thrilled about that. Right. So let's get into some teasers for our audience. I think at this point, at least all of your networks and my networks, our mutual networks, know what your thoughts are and what you're going to be talking about on a high level. And you're going to be talking about the case to erase race. Absolutely. Now, without giving too much away, what can you tease our audience with that's going to compel them to say, ooh, I got to hear more of this, and come to the C3EB Summit?
You know, you actually teased it 2 minutes ago when you were speaking, and you were talking about we're all in these boxes, and we get constricted by these boxes. And I'm the person that's saying we got to get rid of the boxes. So it's not about putting everyone in a box. It's about saying get rid of the boxes. And what I mean by that is the rhetoric of race was created out of the indentured servitude system, where people of European and African lineage all were in this system, and they all had one thing in common, which was poverty. So the thing that's disturbing and really frustrating is that we continue to label and identify ourselves by these really old constructs that were meant to divide us in the first place. So as long as we hold on to those constructs, we're going to continue to be fractured as a human species. So and I specifically say the word species because there's no such thing as race. Race was a fabricated thing, and obviously, you know, it was created for the sake of dividing humans and concentrating power and wealth for a very small group of European men at the time. So for me, it's getting back to science. It's getting back to what are the real roots of everything. And when we look at these very insignificant differences between humans, when we talk about physical features, it's phenotype. So it's literally just your genetic information in a mix with the environment in which your ancestors lived and died under. Yeah. So if you have humanity, which was all once very concentrated, and they moved to different areas of the earth, and you have different elevations and different climates, well, their skin tone is going to be different. Their cheek structure, or their eye structure, or their hair texture, all those things are going to change over time because of those things. And the things that we try to put people in those boxes that you talk about are the things that actually still essentially enslave us from a psychological standpoint.
Yeah.
Because we then begin to those ideas of what those boxes originally meant, we start to harbor those ideas.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I like to point out, this is actually not in the context of my talk, but it is kind of a contextualizing piece, is that the words white and black, which never applied to people prior to the late 1600s, it was first actually officially adopted into the dictionary at the time, the Oxford Dictionary, that white, was applying to people, and it meant, angelic or free from blemish, pure, innocent, and black meant dirty, wicked. And the thing that's really interesting, I don't think that people understand that the language that we use really connects us to history. We propagate a lot of centuries old ideas that a lot of times we unwittingly do. So that's essentially the overarching premise of my talk, which I'll dig into much deeper and get into some of the tenets that govern this, because I'm actually working on it in an academic paper right now that's covering these things. So that will be
nice. Nice. So I'm excited about this talk. And, I saw the PowerPoint. I had the privilege and the honor of seeing that because, hey, I am the creator of this summit. So I got to see it. So if y'all want to see it, definitely come to the summit to see the entirety of it. But, just quickly, when you talked about, when you said this is what I want to talk about, and when I saw your slides and your presentation and everything, it immediately struck me because this is something I talked about in my dissertation, in the sense of in the colonial Western context, you were taking it back to the 1600s. In my dissertation, I actually took it back to like the Indus Valley civilization, 2500 BC, when really the origins of the caste system in India. Caste was something people could move in between, and it was these conquerors that came in, the Aryans, who were fairer skinned and all of, phenotypically different,
right,
that came in. There are actually terms called jati versus varna, which there is a very, look at this, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. There is a very clear historical path where you see caste going from being something that is just a person's profession at that time to being something that somebody are born into, and they have no choice at that point. That is it. And that then determines, it is a social determinant for all of their outcomes in life.
Right.
And it happened because of that migration pattern. And it happened because of two phenotypically different groups coming together, and one claiming superiority over the others. One, because they were conquerors, but second, because they were fairer skinned.
Right.
And so when I was like looking at your presentation, I was like, oh man, this is powerful with different labels on a global level, because we can sort of see these same markers happen through the Chinese dynasties, for instance, through the Japanese feudal kingdoms, and how, the various politics in there. And so this is definitely a global human phenomenon of the people in power needing to establish these markers of immediate and permanent superiority.
Right.
Which then somehow become this thing that, these boxes that we get into and we're supposed to never get out of. But that's a whole academic conversation for a different day. As you can tell, I'm super passionate about all of that stuff. But Alton's presentation is so phenomenal. And I mean, oh, it is such a beautiful presentation. I can't wait to see this live next week, next Wednesday, August 26th at noon. Everybody who registers will be getting email details about how to access Alton's presentation for free live and for free for a certain time after. So please make sure you register at www.c3eb.com so that you can get this information and so that you can catch Alton's presentation. Alton, do you have any parting words for today before we see you next week?
I don't think so. I look forward to seeing people there, and we'll really dig deep. I'm going to try to give as much time as I can for Q&A, but I am going to try to go through a lot of information pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is going to be phenomenal. And, you know, for those who may have questions and may not get it in that time frame, we are going to open up options where they can reach out to you, of course, and get these questions answered. So this is going to be an ongoing conversation for sure. And this is going to be a way for you to be able to access Alton's research, his expertise, and his contribution to all of humanity in talking about just how to be human.
Definitely. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
seeing other people as just another human being and not any other type of labels. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much, Alton, for doing this quick interview with us and for helping me introduce you to our audience so that they can get to know you a little bit better. Again, we do have a comment. Somebody said, can't wait. I don't know who that person is. Facebook user. Thank you. But we will definitely. Yeah, so unless like they give permission, we can't see their names, so they didn't give permission. That's okay. But thank you for your comments, and we will see you next week at the C3EB Summit. We start going live at 9 a.m. on Wednesday, August 26th. So make sure you're there, and we will be launching the platforms and sending out details about how you can get to all of these different events over the next few days. So register so you can get access to all of this information. And once again, Alton, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.